He's normal.
I think the most important thing is that you're aware of what is happening with him, because, well, it would be a shame if his academic record was undermined by this kind of behavior.
This is just an isolated incident, right?
Yes, but I'm concerned that it might make him even more of an outcast.
More of an outcast.
He's an outcast?
Each character is alienated. I mean, that was really the whole premise of the show, really. I mean, the backdrop was that these aliens exist and they are abducting these people, but each character is socially alienated in some respect. The grandfather it's his age that alienates him. He's lost control of his life. He's being taken care of by his daughter, and he's feeling like he's being treated like a child. Cameron is alienated because he's so smart. He just feels like he can't connect with anybody in his class. And then Isabel is obviously alienated because of her sexual identity. I mean, she's a lesbian and is having a lot of issues with that. And then Sarah, the mother, is alienated just by her lack of a sense of her identity. She hasn't found her purpose in life since she's had her children, given up her career. So she's feeling that kind of alienation. And then, of course, Roger is feeling his more classic midlife crisis alienation. He's losing sense of his place at work and his place in his life, and his inability to take control of the family. All the characters that we try and come into and all the situations we get into try and deal with social alienation as much as possible, and then using the backdrop of the real alienation, because that's what ultimately happens, is they become alienated from the people around them by having this situation that nobody believes is happening to them.
This is gonna sound crazy, all right? I'm not crazy. You can ask anybody. None of us are. We're just a normal family. We were a normal family.
Ma'am, do you know who abducted your son?
Aliens.
Sarah Blundell is very intelligent and loves her family dearly, but is a little bit lost and worries about everyone, because if she didn't, I think she'd find that she would be really empty. And once the aliens come in, it gives her even more of a reason to find meaning in her life. But slowly and slowly, she's coming unraveled.
We don't know what the truth is, do we?
Roger, I know that I was abducted last night. And I know that right now Cameron is missing. And I know that Isabel heard a strange buzzing noise coming from his room last night. So what more do you want?
She thinks she heard a sound.
He's a little bit out of the game. Sarah is probably more on the ball in this family. She's the one that kind of keeps the family together. My ability to talk to them is often quite truncated and confused and bewildered. Hey, Sport, how you doing?
Sport? He's Cameron Blundell. I think that he's a bit alienated from his father, but more closer to his mother.
Okay, first of all, please stop calling it ice hockey. It's just hockey. This is Canada. The ice part is taken for granted, okay?
Whatever.
Come on, sweetie.
Morning. With his dad, I just don't think they get along. They're just completely on a different level, whereas he's into sports and Cameron's just into more books and learning. With his sister, I think it's a bit tough for him because I just don't think they get along very well.
Hey, it's dinner time. You don't want any calls during dinner, right, Mom?
Yeah. Right. No problem. Cameron, let go! What is your Cameron?
Isabel's relationship with her brother is, I think, pretty normal for a brother and sister. Sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't. It seems like most of the time they don't. But I think ultimately they do respect each other in a certain way, and sometimes they'll band together against their parents.
What's it called when you murder your parents?
Parenticide?
Parenticide.
She keeps herself at a distance. They try really hard to be part of her life, I think, particularly her mother. But she just feels like they couldn't possibly understand. And so she doesn't really tell them much.
Isabel?
Yeah, Mom?
That's a beer?
Yeah, it is.
What's with her?
Good question. Hey, Mom, why don't you explain to Grandpa what's wrong with Isabel?
Nothing is wrong with Isabel. Just going through a tough time. We don't need to pursue the topic any further than that, okay?
Female issues. He's a 79-year-old grump who does not get along very well with his daughter. I'm surprised his daughter, Sarah Jane Redmond, hasn't kicked me out already, because I never touch her. We never give each other a hug, although I think she'd like to, the way some of the writing goes. But I just give her a bad time.
Come on, Dad, why don't you go back up to your room?
See the way they talk to me? Huh? Who's the CO here?
I am.
Let me tell you something. I'm 79 years old. I'll admit, I may not be as sharp as I once was. I may even be a little senile. But this much I know for sure. I am by far more sane than anyone in this family, especially this one here. It's a very dysfunctional family to begin with. And now when certain people from other planets alienate us and take us away, the dysfunctional begins with a capital D-Y. It's just a hoot.
Ah, Mrs. Blundell, I'm glad you're here.
You know this clown?
I don't appreciate you taking photographs of my family.
But the residue on your father has the same pattern as the residue I found on your house.
What is he talking about?
Carter Treehorn is the resident ufologist in town, so I specialize in UFO phenomenon. And Sarah Blundell, the wife, mother of the house, calls upon me to come and analyze their encounter.
Is it?
Alien? Most definitely. I was very skeptical about her reports until things start to click into place, and then I realized that this family could be the real deal. We're most likely dealing with an incubational process. That's why there's been a delayed reaction.
All right, what do you mean?
I'll need a fresh sample.
Of what?
Your sperm.
The main objective of the aliens is to, initially is to just experiment on them, but really the ultimate goal is to create hosts. Essentially, they're male aliens that have been abandoned by their female counterparts, and so they have to procreate. So they are searching the universe for suitable hosts, if you will. So they show up to Earth, and in order to try and procreate, they try and, first of all, get the males. They alter their sperm and then try and get them to... they're more horny, so they have to go out and have sex, but that doesn't work because it gets screwed up. So then they start, the next thing they do is they give one of the characters a scent that attracts women to them. So they're trying to procreate using this family as a control group or an experiment.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened in there.